The two kingdoms in Lutheran theology, it didn't start with Luther. We had the two kingdoms way back in Augustine. You know, the city of God, his magnum opus, the city of God. It was about the city of God and the city of the world. And there you go, there's the two kingdoms. And it really has a lot of the same, like it works a lot the same way as the two kingdoms does 1,000 years later. And in the Middle Ages, you had this was just a major part of how people organized the world in their thinking throughout the whole Middle Ages. You have the church and you have the state. And they are coordinate powers that take care of different things. And so like in the large catechism, Martin Luther's large catechism, when he's talking about the fourth commandment, honor your father and mother, he says we have fathers by nature, that is, in a family, and then we have fathers in the state and we have fathers in the church. And so that's patriarchy, and patriarchy is a good thing. If somebody says patriarchy is a bad thing, the best question to ask is, well, who should be doing the archy if not fathers? It's like who should step in for the fathers if they're not going to do it, because that's sort of by nature how it works in a family, how it works best in a family, how it should work in a family. It makes sense that it's going to leave its stamp on the other levels of society too, which isn't to say that we're necessarily violating nature if we're allowing women to run for office. But we certainly are talking like fools if we behave like the problem with all of history before the 20th century is that we didn't. And so you've got a sort of a paternal responsibility like what the father has to his children. And I was talking about this when we were talking about abortion and natural law. And then you've got a similar paternal responsibility with a king and his people. And so, Luther lived in a monarchic situation, right? It's like he had an emperor who was his power was kind of nominal. The emperor didn't really have that much power over the German Confederation that was called the Holy Roman Empire. But his prince, the Prince of Saxony, Prince Frederick, did have a lot of power over Luther's over his day-to-day. And he wouldn't have been alive to write the catechisms if Prince Frederick hadn't gone to bat for him and stuck his neck out for him in a number of ways. So that a good king in the understanding of the whole world prior to the Enlightenment, a good king behaves toward his subjects like a good father behaves toward his children. And then in the church also, there's a reason that the clergy ended up being called father, and the Lutherans did not push back against that, did not change that. Like, it's not very common in America, but that's got more to do with America than with the fact that we're Lutheran. They are also supposed to exercise paternal responsibility towards the faithful, the flock. And pastor means shepherd. And so that analogy of the shepherd to the sheep is actually builds the pastor up more than the analogy of a father to children. So it's kind of funny that American Protestants, bridle at calling him father, but they call him pastor just fine. It's like father just suggests that you have the relationship of a child to that position of responsibility. Pastor actually means you have the relationship of an animal to that position of responsibility. But in both cases, the metaphor is of course softened by the fact that that the pastor is himself a sheep of the chief shepherd, and that the pastor is himself a child of God, and so this authority is always supposed to be carried out with humility, and not tyrannically. So tyranny in the church is it doesn't kill people as often as tyranny in the state does, but it's just as bad a problem because you might be driving people away from salvation. You might be scandalizing people and miserably vexing and flaying the sheep of the chief shepherd by the way you're treating them. But there actually is there are two spheres of responsibility and therefore authority, right? Because God doesn't ever give responsibility without authority, just like no sane constitution would ever give responsibility without authority.